Besides, you're saying it wrong. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Let's get you out of here, Buzz.
Don't you get it? You see the hat? I am Mrs. Nesbit. Snap out of it, Buzz.
Look what I got. I got a jar of dirt. I got a jar of dirt. And guess what's inside it?
Taking my life, Usul. It is the only way.
I'm pointing the way.
I've really got to get you out of those clothes
Excuse me?
and into a black dress. Tell me, Doctor, do you like the circus?
Welcome back to another episode of Get a Load of This Movie, a franchise movie podcast where we talk about movies that are a part of a franchise. That means 3 movies or more. And of course, why wouldn't we? Of course we're following that rule. We are following that rule today, and we are covering a franchise with not 1, not 2, not 3, but 5 movies coming out. The 5th one's coming out this year.
5 movies?
Yes, that is right. And today we have a little bit of change up, you know. We have 3 people talking about this movie. My name is Corey.
Hey, what's up? I'm Cole.
I'm Zach. And that's Zach. And so a little bit of a change up. It's going to be us 3 talking about the movie for the first time. You know, usually we don't do that. It's usually just one of us, or maybe there's 5 people. It's just kind of a crazy cast of characters. And today's going to be no different. We're going to be a crazy cast of characters. But today, like I said, we are covering a franchise that has 5 movies. We are continuing a franchise. We have already covered the first one. That's right. We are back on Toy Story with Toy Story 2. This movie is streaming. I watched
Disney
it on
Plus.
I watched it on Disney Plus. Is this on Hulu? Is this one of those?
Let me double check for our listeners.
Riveting radio. Even though it's not radio. Riveting podcasting.
This is so cut.
I'm looking. Nope, just on Disney Plus. No,
Glad we
Hulu
looked that up.
attached.
That was so needed. But this is streaming on Disney Plus, so go check it out. And then after this, we're going to be taking a little bit of a break. But then we're going to be right back to it. So stay tuned for the post-credit scene, and we're going to dive a little bit more into that. Or we get into the movie. And before we get into the summary, I do have a call sheet. I didn't have one last week, and I apologize for that, but I do have one this week. Do we have a go-round question? I didn't see one on the notes.
No, I don't think.
No?
I don't think anything's been worth. Has there been any big movie news?
Oh, well, I heard the
about?
Straight Up Horror Moose is back open, so we could talk about that really quick if we want to.
The what?
No? Okay, on to the call sheet.
Hello. You don't know me, but I know you. I want to play a game. There is only one key to open the device. It's in the stomach of your dead cellmate. You better hurry up. Live or die. Make your choice.
Is that even a word? Did he say a word there?
You just like
Yeah,
not.
that's a real thing. Cool. It's a big part of the war with Iran.
guess Cole doesn't pay too much attention. Okay. We have a call sheet today. And this is going to be 4 questions and a bonus questions. It's a little bit of a twist.
No.
On a game that we've played before, a game that we all know and love called Who Said That? But instead of Who Said That, it's Ooh, I know this quote. So in this game, I'm going to give you a quote, and you are going to have to, from Toy Story 2, to be fair, the quote will be from the movie that we watched for today, and you will have to finish the quote. Does that make sense? So you're going to have to give me the next line.
So it's not who said that. Essentially, it's more like finish that say.
So you must have missed when I was talking earlier and explaining the game. I said it's a twist on Who Said That? And it's called I Know This Quote. Do you want to explain that one more time so everyone knows what we're doing?
Corey's going to play a game.
Anyway, here we go. So here's how I'm going to give it. to you straight here. I have a certain phrase, and you guys can go as short or as long as you want. Whoever has the more full quote gets the point. If you guys both do the full quote that I have, you guys will both get the point. But if it's the quote from Mrs. Potato Head that says, let's adopt them, or whatever she says at the very end. Do you remember that? And Cole sends in, let's adopt. And then Zach sends in, let's adopt them. Zach would get the point. Cole win, even though Cole is technically correct. If you guys both send in, let's adopt them, and Cole sends in the line after that, you both would just get 1 point. Does that make sense? Okay, great. Like I said, 4 questions and a bonus question. So hopefully we need the bonus question because I was kind of a fan of how I wrote the bonus question. But here we go. Question number 1. I'm going to say who's talking, the line, who's talking, the line. Okay, Woody. Wait a minute. You turned on the TV last night, not Jessie. Stinky Pete the Prospector. Look, we have an eternity to spend at a museum together. Let's not start pulling fingers, shall we? Text me the next line.
Just feels like the end of the line, doesn't it? It's tough. This is a tough enough game.
Just text me the next line.
He's the rudenest.
I have an answer from each of you. On to question number 2. Buzz, come on, fellas. Did Woody give up when Sid had me strapped to a rocket? All. No! Buzz, no! And did he give up when you threw him out of the back of that moving van? What is the next line? Oh, you're really taking your time. Okay, I have an answer from each of you. On to question number 3. Sorry, I was just checking. Question number 3, or quote number 3, Woody. Jessie, let go of the plane. Jessie, what? Are you crazy? Woody, just pretend it's the final episode of Woody's Roundup. What is the next line? Okay, I have an answer from each of you. Question number 4. Al, look at the time. I'm going to be late. Oh, figures. I can't miss my flight. I've got to pack all right. Let's see. Wallet, keys, tickets, passport, beef jerky. Very expensive over there. Shower. What is the next line?
I actually don't know this one. Can't believe I have to drive all the way to work on a Saturday.
I was
Send that one
laughing
in.
hard at that one.
It is so egregious.
It's a great gag. It's something along these lines.
All the way to...
Okay, let me count really quick. See what we'll do.
Now it's time for Sheriff Woody.
Okay, it looks like there is a tie, so we are going into the bonus round. Here we go. We're going bonus, and of course the bonus is closest to the pin, so I am looking for a number. Listen closely to this one, okay, because there's a lot going on with this one, but just listen closely. Tim Allen isn't the only one who plays multiple versions of his character in this movie. Tom Hanks also played the Woody puppet on the Woody's Roundup TV show that we saw. And he definitely got paid for the extra work that he had to put in. Making significantly more in the second Toy Story, what was the dollar amount increase in pay for Tom Hanks? What was the dollar amount increase? So the difference between the two numbers.
It's time for Sheriff Woody. He's the rootinest cowboy in the wild, wild west. Woody's around.
Okay.
Well, anytime, I want to let you know, because I don't know if you listen to the episodes. Anytime you sing, I cut it. There is not one song you have done
You don't
where
listen
it
to the
has
episodes?
What about...
You spoke the review, and that was fine. Remember, that was like the same thing that I did with the last Friday night thing with Friday the 13th.
Last Friday, 13th?
Okay, let's go over the answers. Question number 1. Woody, wait a minute. You turned on the TV last night, not Jessie. Stinky Pete the Prospector. Look, we have an eternity to spend at the museum together. Let's not start pointing fingers, shall we? Answer, you really are Stinky Pete, aren't ya? And Cole got that one correct. Zach said, suck me, cowboy. On to question number 2.
Dear
Buzz.
God.
Buzz, come on, fellas. Did Woody give up when Sid had me strapped to the rocket? Oh, no. Buzz, no. And did he give up when you threw him out of the back of that moving van? Mr. Potato Head responded, you had to bring that up. Zach got this correct. Cole did not. Cole put, why do you have to bring that up? Zach got the line correct. On to question number 3.
Idiot.
It's tied
You
at one
moron.
apiece. Tied at
You
one
even watched
apiece.
the movie?
Tied at one apiece. On to question number 3.
Suck me, cowboy. That was
Woody.
going to make the cut.
Jessie, let go of the plane. Jessie, what? Are you crazy? Woody, just pretend it's the final episode of Woody's Roundup. Next line is, but it was canceled. We never saw if you made it. Zach said, but we don't know if they made it. Let's find out. Cole said, Jessie, it was canceled. We never got to see if you made it. Cole got the point on that one. It is tied, or no, I'm sorry. It is 2-1 in favor of Cole. On to the last question, which we know how this one will be going because I already said it was a tie. On to question number 4. Look at the time. I'm going to be late. Oh, figures. I can't miss this flight. I've got to pack. All right, let's see. Wallet, keys, ticket, passport, beef jerky. Very expensive over there. Shower. Cole said all the way to work. That was not the next line. The next line was, I could skip the shower. I've just got to get out of here.
What did Zach say?
Zach said, I don't need a shower, which was the closer one of the two. On to the bonus, tied at 2 apiece. The bonus, Tim Allen isn't the only one who plays multiple versions of his character in this movie. Tom Hanks also played the Woody puppet on the Woody's Roundup TV show, and he definitely got paid for the extra work. Making significantly more in the second Toy Story, what was the total dollar amount increase in pay for Tom Hanks? Tom Hanks in the first Toy Story was paid approximately $50,000, what I saw in my research. He got paid a whopping $5,000 second movie. That is about, the difference is, actually, I don't know, I'm not doing the math.
Wait,
Cole was closest. Cole said $5 million, which was the closest, so congratulations, Cole. You win the second Toy Story movie. On to the action.
Even the opening scene, there's always some random girl who gets a call that undoubtedly ends up getting her killed. It's also predictable. There's no element of surprise. You can see everything coming.
Did that surprise you?
Why?
Because you talk too much. Now shut the fuck up and watch the movie.
Thank you for waiting for the intro music to play there, Cole, before you start your summary. I appreciate the buffer.
I usually do. I try to wait, and then Corey leads me in. That's usually what happens.
Well, cool. Anytime now.
Corey, did you even watch the movie? Because I'm about to tell you what happens.
So I
Woody
watched
and
it.
Buzz,
I was going to give you an explanation. I thought you
Stepping
wanted
on
a
each other's
joke.
bits.
Yeah.
Woody and Buzz are co-leaders of Andy's toys, but Woody is damaged and shelved after Andy accidentally rips his arm. He didn't want to play with him anymore. Horror scene. Woody befriends Wheezy, a broken penguin toy also left aside. After rescuing Wheezy from a yard sale, Woody is stolen by toy collector Al McWiggin. Buzz and the other toys set off on a rescue mission to find Woody. Woody learns he is part of a famous 1950 show called Woody's Roundup and meets Jessie, Bullseye, and the old prospector, aka Stinky Pete. He discovers Al plans to sell them to a museum in Tokyo, meaning they'll never be played with again. Jessie's story of being abandoned makes Woody fear Andy will outgrow him, so he considers going to the museum. Meanwhile, Buzz rescues the team and faces obstacles, including another Buzz Lightyear toy, an Emperor Zurg. At an airport, Woody changes his mind, and the toys rescue Jessie, defeat Stinky Pete, and escape. They return home, and Andy happily plays with his new toys, and Woody overcomes his fear of being forgotten.
That's great.
Corey, do you have a thing? Or do you...
You know what? No, I was actually, there was nothing that, I was trying to come up with something, honestly, afterwards. I was thinking about it, and I think I was trying to think more of it, but the questions I was coming up with, I just didn't really care about. I was the question I had on my mind, and I really don't want to talk about this because it really doesn't matter, but I do want to pose it to you because at the very end of the movie, Woody still has the rip in his shoulder, and he ends up back in Andy's room, but nothing ever happened, right? And so part of me was wondering, I was do you think they try to leave it somewhat possible that this is all just imaginary and that this is happening in Andy's mind, imagining what his toys go on, something along those lines. But I was they showed the shuttle right outside the window. So I was and that's just me thinking too much about it. And I was I don't take that.
It's funny you bring that up because that was the original writer's premise for writing the movie. He was the first movie, it was what happens when I'm away from my toys? Do
Yeah.
they come to life, And I do think it's funny that Cody poses
Mid-take, you're going to do that
You
shit?
know, stop. Oh,
That makes the audio editing so much harder for me.
Sorry.
you open like 4 an episode. It's insane.
Drink a lot.
In the
I'm
middle.
not shaming
no,
you for drinking. I'm shaming your timing
It's always
of
so
that.
loud. Start over. Say it again.
Corey, it's funny you post that.
Okay.
Corey, it's funny you post that because, that was the original premise for the guy who wrote the first movie, which was, what happens when I'm away? What do my toys do when I am away? So it's funny you bring that up. But at the same time, I like the idea that it is kind of real, and they were happy enough to see him that his mom's not even like, how did the toys perfectly assemble themselves for Andy? It's like, it's just something you can breeze past. It's the logic of this universe, and
Right.
I can definitely live with the either or,
Right. And
I do want to say, I'm glad you brought up the logic of this universe, Cole. Because this is such a small little thing for me.
Tri-county area.
I do remember when I saw Toy Story 4, and I'm not going to spoil anything about Toy Story 4, and we'll talk about them. But I remember, even though I liked that movie, one of my little, while watching it, my little grievances while watching that is I was like, I get that we're watching a movie about talking toys, perfectly fine accepting that, no big deal.
Yeah.
I was like, man, we're pushing it with them, like, joining together to drive the RV, like some toys on the gas, some toys steering, and I had completely forgotten that they do that in this movie. Like they
learn.
They
how
had
to
already
drive in
been
this one.
pushing it in this movie.
And while they're doing that, Ham's on the floor, and he's commenting on the mileage that the Pizza Planet truck gets.
But between that and like the cone scene where they're crossing the street, and again, super small complaint because I do find that scene entertaining and funny, but man, we are pushing it in terms of the exposure that these toys. This is like a 20-car pileup because of magically moving cones, and it's like that's gonna get attention. Someone's gonna talk about that. I'm not saying they're gonna settle on. Obviously, it was toys moving, but I'm just saying they're not living in the shadows here. Like these are not the toys that are like, someone's coming, drop, and they all just drop and make sure everything's arranged perfectly. They're risking it for the biscuit, and I get it. They're doing it to save Woody. So again, I'm really not complaining. I get it. It's just like, yeah, okay, we're pushing the envelope of plausibility a bit, just a tiny bit. But I'm annoying myself even saying this complaint.
Yeah,
so I'll just
but
move on.
you can also bring that up in like the first one. Yes, Sid can say this is all in his mind, but
No, I like that because that's just one kid. That's not a bunch of toys crossing the street in the middle of all these cars and there's crashing. Someone could have really been hurt. A child could have been killed if they're not in a car seat, Cole.
Yeah, but Andy would have been
Traumatizing Sid, and where no one will believe him because he's the only one, and he's been mean to toys. I'm fine with that. I love that. This is a little different.
Nice.
It is odd because that scene also made me question. That scene and the car scene made me question, like, what are like the rules that they follow? Not like where it was
code.
There's got to be something that's driving them, that's making them make like we could do it around here. But like even when Sid and like those toys that he was torturing and destroying, like why didn't they move? Like, and so it's like there is something there where I was like that. I kind of thought about that after, but when I'm watching the movie, it's like that's the last thing on my mind because the movie, like we talked about this in the last one, not the last one, the last episode where we covered Close Encounters. The movie takes you on a ride and takes you on an adventure that just drowns out everything else, And this movie, I think it does that in a great job of that because like them going from Andy's house, finding his apartment and finding the toy store, like that is so implausible talking about
that
it. Like,
man in a chicken suit.
Yeah, I love that scene too. He's going through like, and he's trying to figure out what the license plate possibly meant, and he's going through all the different. Wait a second, it's like, I think he has a lot of great moments there, but it's like the plausibility is so far fetched. Yeah, I did not find myself in the movie questioning it or even like saying like, okay, come on. Like I was never, it just wasn't there, you know? And maybe that's because it was sandwiched between the story that Woody's going on, which is a very emotionally driven story. I think all these movies have a place where they hit like the big emotional beat. And for this one, they had it with Jessie, I think. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah, and it can also, I think these movies do a great theme where it can relate to something in your life. So this one can kind of, with Jessie, it's the idea that like, yes, when you grow up, sometimes friends outgrow each other. You know, there's the phrase reason, season, lifetime, and Jessie is affected by this season of life that, what's the girl's name again? Doesn't matter. Whatever, like this season of life that she was going through, and then Emily.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe. No, but then Jessie didn't matter. So this is kind of emblematic of this point in childhood that Andy's at. Yes, his toys are his friends, quote unquote, and at some point he is going to outgrow them. But when you're in that moment, you don't really think about it. And I think this does a great job kind of relaying that, because as I look back on it now, I can think about like friends who I had when I was really young who I don't necessarily talk to anymore. And it's a fondness, but it's not like a bad thing. So it's can kind of relate to this season of life that, say, adults are going through, which is why I think these movies do a great job hitting home for like adults just as much as they do kids.
Yeah, I think I'm still kind of like, it definitely works like from a friend angle, like you're saying there, Cole, but I think I'm still kind of in almost like the parent mode still, because I think especially the themes, because I think this movie kind of matures from the first one in a little bit. I think it's a little bit more adult outlook for like a toy's life cycle. Like, whereas the first one is like, I think the first one really falls in line with what you were talking about, Cole, with like growing apart and like the interests change. He goes from liking cowboys to wanting to do space stuff with Buzz Lightyear, like talking about Andy. This movie is like, it's actually like they really grapple with the fact that eventually a toy's life is going to be over. And like either it's wear and tear, like Woody's arm, and like that nightmare scene he has where he gets thrown in the trash and the trash pulls him down.
What's that line Stinky Pete says? He talks about like decomposing at some point. He like says it very graphically.
Well, everything will corrode eventually, in some way. But
yeah,
like,
not if they're in a museum.
Exactly, which is where they'll be preserved. And this is like the only way to like live forever or whatever. But what kind of life is that? But that's why I think it's a very interesting thing. But here's the thing is like Jessie got abandoned and put into storage where she was like, I can't go back into the dark. Which is a very...
I promise you will come out of the box.
Yeah, that's a pretty dark, fate too, to be just locked in a box forever in complete darkness. I don't know if toys sleep. So that's just like that tapping your reality, like 24/7 darkness and silence. Oof, that's pretty scary. So I think this movie is like the stakes are kind of high. It's not like, oh, he doesn't want to play with me anymore, I'm no longer the favorite. It's like we are approaching themes that get fleshed out even more, and it tees up 3 really well. This movie tees up 3 really well. And not to jump ahead to that, or 4. I think 4 also this is kind of in conversation all with each other, like 2, 3, and 4 really well.
Thinking about 3.
Yeah,
3 is so good. I can't wait to talk about 3 too.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, the purpose of a toy, like, we're still dealing with that because Woody is given the decision that, like, okay, I could mean something and be gawked over in a museum and, like, preserved, like we were saying, and, you're always gonna, you'll be behind glass, though, and you really can't interact with anybody. You're not gonna ever get played with again, that's for sure. You can have that, and you will last longer, and you'll be in the light longer, for sure, pretty much guarantee it. But he would lose out on all those memories and all those moments that he could have with Andy. And, something's beautiful, not because it lasts forever type of thing. And that's kind of where he lands at the end. And he's like, I wouldn't miss, Andy will grow up, but I wouldn't miss it for the world. Like, I think it's him sticking with Andy means even more now that he's had that option to do something else. And he realized, like, no, I would prefer to be with Andy. I think it's a really well set up arc that's handled very, very well done.
And I think it also brings in, there's a great theme about loyalty, because you have all of these toys who are going through the Tri-County area, which there's apparently 3 billion or 3 million cars from what Ham says. So it's pretty big area, and they're willing to do this hike just for Woody, not knowing if they're going to come back. Buzz is going to give him that kiss from Bo Peep, which definitely would have meant more coming from her. But it also brings up, that's the line in the movie. She kisses Buzz.
There's something in your tone there that you were, go on, whatever. Felt a little personal for you.
But anyway, it also brings up like Woody. There's a line in the third that I really love, and it's the thing about Woody is he'll never give up on you. And Woody, while yes, there's this idea that Andy's going to grow old and he's going to forget him, he's not willing to give up on Jessie immediately. It's something about him that kind of endears him to an audience more in this one, I would say, than in the prior one. And, it's personified in that line. Who am I to break up the Roundup gang? Like, it's not his call to make. He was willing to make that call to go back to Andy when they were all in it with him. But until that point, he wasn't going to do that. He was going to stay with them because he couldn't bear to see Jessie go back in storage.
I don't think it's implied he was only doing it for Jessie. I don't think it was just, I guess I'll do it just for Jessie. I think it's implied that he saw the purpose that he could have, this importance that he has as this famous character, Woody, in this canceled TV show or whatever, and all the memorabilia. And I think he did get sucked into that a little bit.
Yeah.
And thought that would be more satisfying for him going forward. I don't think it was just, I guess I'll do it just for Jessie. I don't think that's where it is, because that's what sets up the decision to go back to Andy in Andy's room with the rest of them really well, is because he was just choosing a different life out of, I don't want to say, keeping Jessie out of storage is a bonus, but like he was doing it to be a part of something bigger in his own head, which obviously he learns is that it would be empty compared to life with Andy in Andy's room and the rest of those toys.
I saw it as, because it feels like Stinky Pete's entire plan is to well, that's his name, so I can't get.
I just love it. It's so funny.
That's just, you can't laugh at
He's a funny guy.
God named him. But I think it's like his overall plan to, like, one, get Woody enamored with everything that's been around him and all this memorabilia and like the awe that like the fun that they're having on the show. I think the plan is to, one, get him enamored with that, and when that doesn't work, I think it's like, okay, you are getting towards the end of your life with Andy. Like, you are almost there, and we have, like, he knows Jessie's story, and I think his plan is like Jessie's story is the one that kind of pushes him overboard and says, you know what, maybe that is right. You know what, I'm already here. I don't even know if I can make it back home. Like, I don't even know how to begin to do that. Like, I would just be guessing on where I'm going. So there's no guarantee I get back home. I had all these great memories with Andy, and now I have this new family. And so I might think there was an accumulation of everything, and then seeing everyone kind of snap them back, where he was just like, oh yes, that is the most important thing. I lost sight of that for a second because of all these things going on around me. And he's not hearing any other voice besides the one telling him to move on, move on, move on, move on, move on. From Stinky Pete, from Jessie, from all the posters and stuff that they have going around, the toys.
From Bullseye.
And so
Bullseye's
I think
great.
it's easier for him. I really don't think, even when he says, like, when they come to visit or when they come to rescue and he's like, no, I'm going to a museum. Like, I don't even think he really believes that, because as soon as they leave, he's like, wait, they're not coming to, like, I think it feels like something clicks, and like maybe it's just a simple moment that I'm seeing it as, but I don't know. It didn't really feel like he actually believed that, and I think that shows when that changes.
I do love the animator's choice. Every time Stinky Pete played pretty great by Kelsey Grammer, I would say. I do find it very funny that they chose this actor who's known for playing very well-spoken characters to play the quote-unquote, stinky prospector.
He is well-spoken, though. In this.
That's what's funny about it, because like he watches the TV show and he's like, God, I can't believe they made me do this. Where was my contract? But the animators do this thing every time he like tries to convince Woody. They kind of linger on him a little bit, and he gets this kind of menacing look on his face, which we also later learn it's like he's playing this toy who never came out of the box. He's not willing to give up this sort of, dare I say, immortality that being in a museum could get him, which is, plays on what Woody's torn by. It's either immortality or being immortalized in the memories of Andy as his favorite toy, which I think is kind of a, like, he plays on that, but they portray him as warm yet menacing. He's Stinky Pete, but he's also gonna get you.
I think Stinky Pete is a good villain because he's one of those, we talk about this all the time, and you can kind of understand where he's coming from a bit from his standpoint, at least, that he was upset he never got played with. He's kind of the dark twin to what Woody could have become in terms of mindset, given that he also, too, was passed up for space toys. Is what he talks about. Like, once Sputnik went in the air, no one wanted to, play with them anymore or whatever. But no one was going to. I mean, the Prospector toy was probably not the favorite to begin with. It would have been Jessie and Woody and Bullseye. So I think
also went up in like the 60s, wasn't it?
That's what he said.
It was
that's when the show. That's when the show
was.
But this is when the show was like 50s and stuff. So that makes sense.
So was Woody
that's why they're old.
down?
They're old, like antique toys.
Yeah. Woody.
That's why they're worth so much.
I've seen a lot of theories that imply Andy's mom said he's an old family toy.
That's right. Yeah, I thought she said
so.
Something like that.
He was probably like.
I thought he was being
or
facetious
her
when he
mom's.
said when he said Sputnik went in the air. I thought he was just being like, I started from the very beginning. I thought he was just trying to say something like that.
Yeah, Sputnik went up in 1957. Just for frame of reference.
Given that that's what the plot of the first movie is with Woody and Buzz, it is like he could have been turned into someone like Stinky Pete down the line. Similar enough.
So Woody's looking in the mirror, and it's like, okay, this is what could have been. I am what is.
Yeah, and so Woody is staring down that, and he's hearing a story from Jessie. So he's seeing kind of the possible future for himself, where he will eventually just be abandoned. And yeah, I mean, it's a really enticing offer that they're making to him. So that's why that all works really well. It's written really well, and Stinky Pete is kind of perfectly placed to, in his new, like, nothing is worth it if it ends in this sort of way, sort of mindset that he has. He's kind of perfectly set up to kind of prey upon, Jessie's depression with her being abandoned and all that, and her fear of it happening again, to kind of win her over to his side. He
preys on the fear.
He is well spoken enough to, kind of bring them over to his way of thinking and why this way is best, sort of deal. So yeah, he's a solid villain. And honestly, again, just I keep saying this, but like stuff that we can continue to talk about with 3 and 4 is like, I think in a way these different antagonists. I don't remember too much about the doll in 4, but even then, I think it is kind of similar.
Lotso Huggin' Bear?
Lotso is 3. Lotso is 3.
You're thinking of, I can't even remember her name.
I don't remember her name, but it's a doll in 4. But I remember liking her too. But like, they all kind of have similar dispositions and whatnot about what it is to be a toy and stuff and what gives them purpose. And I think, he's the Stinky Pete to set up for that, because the villain in the first one, like we were joking a lot about Sid, but that's a whole different type of. That's just a physical threat. That's not like
it's not
connecting to the. It's not connecting to the themes of the movie. Sid, he's just more of an obstacle.
Yeah.
So like, I think whereas Stinky Pete is like intrinsically tied to what we're doing with the movie, what we're doing with all the characters. I think he's much more organically put in the story. And I think that's part of why this movie is really strong. And yeah, I think like we kind of to sum it up, like we said, like I said, this is like kind of a more adult outlook on a toy's lifestyle. I do think this movie is more mature than the first movie. It is a step up in that way. I think we talked about the A plot and the B plot, like someone else wrote that in the notes here, is that we have Buzz separated from Woody, but Buzz still does feel like a co-lead of this movie. He's just separate from Woody.
Yeah.
I think we kind of lose that feeling a bit, at least by the fourth one. We definitely do.
Definitely.
I think
that they're co-leads.
But Yeah, I think Buzz is kind of sidelined a bit in the fourth one, but I keep trying to go. I keep jumping ahead. That's a problem. But
he's kind of he's sidelined in the next one too.
No, I
He's
feel
got a
like
lot
his,
in the
his
next one, but-
story works out because it's.
But no, we're not talking about. We're not talking.
It
about,
is
we're
similar
not,
to this one though, because what ends up happening is Woody is usually on his own adventure in these next few, and Buzz is like the leader of the rest of the group. And that's kind of what they're doing here. So if I could say I want one thing on Toy Story 5 is I do think it'd be interesting to have Buzz and Woody be like on their own thing again. That'd be fun. But
I did want to add on to your idea of maturity for this movie, and it really goes into Stinky Pete, like you were saying. He manipulates all of these characters, and it's kind of like
manipulates Woody too.
Yeah, but like Jessie, it's the hope that kills her in the idea that he's like, I promise you're going to come out of the box. I promise. So he's kind of like, you're never going back in. But in a museum, they're in a box. They're in a glass case of emotion. And I don't think he's selling that to meet his own end, which I think is, I just really wanted to agree with you there. I
think you wanted to work your way to glass case of emotion. That's my read
also
there.
got that
I think
read
that was your end goal.
He
there.
wrote that in his notes or got that idea a minute
I
and a
have
half
no
ago.
notes. I have no notes. You're so mean.
Avoid being mean to. There's an easy way to stop people being mean to you.
Write down what you think during the movie.
I did. I added to this.
Yes, you did.
No,
Yes, you did.
I like keep independent.
I think just to get off of the the Woody art and with Stinky Pete stuff, just a general statement. This is a step up visually from the first one, for sure.
I thought this could have been made today and been like a high quality animated film. Just looking
it's not
at
quite there, but it's getting closer.
That's
to
what I'm
that.
saying. I think it's right on the verge of it. I think you can see it a little bit that it's been surpassed. I mean, here's the thing.
Yes.
I bet if we lined up all four of them, each one is a huge step up from the one before. I remember
100%.
for the billionth time, I will bring it up. Toy Story 4. I remember being like, whoa. In the beginning of Toy Story 4 in the theater, like, with how good it looked. And I'm sure Toy Story 5 will do something similar. But that's just the nature of what this type of animation is, that it will keep improving like that. It'll always keep improving and always being like, wow, that's awesome, while also the previous ones aging a little bit, because computer graphics pretty much can always continue improving, whereas like traditional hand-drawn animation will always look as good as it does. Like it will always look great, but I don't know if like me seeing Moana is going to make me go like, oh my gosh, it looks so much better than like Little Mermaid. I don't know. I don't think so. But I think here this type of the computer graphic animation, that's just the nature of it. But Toy Story 2 definitely looks better than the first one, and it still holds up now. Yeah. I think it holds up. I never really had the fears going into this one that I had with going into the first Toy Story. And even though I said, oh, it looked better than I remembered, going into Toy Story 2, yeah, I came out of it like, yeah, this looks great. And also just the new settings that we have. The video game opening, I think, looks great. And I think they purposefully put this whole sequence in to show off, show off. Here's how good we can make this look now, like type of deal.
So do we think that the intro to this movie is the reason we got the Lightyear movie? Like, do you think it's it
indirectly led to it, for sure?
I don't think so. I mean,
do you think it's the reason we had two gay characters in the Buzz Lightyear movie?
Okay, so
that's the reason Snoop Dogg didn't take his kids to see that movie.
Well, he's so tough for that. They branded Lightyear, I think, as this is the movie that exists within the Toy Story universe that the toys were based off of. So that would imply that this movie came out in the mid-90s at the latest.
Yeah, it says, I think, it says 1995. So the opening credits.
The two moms.
Yes.
In Lightyear.
Yes.
I obviously have no qualms with it whatsoever, but I do find it hard to believe that a movie released in the mid-90s for children would have had two moms, given the reaction that we had to it in 2022 or whatever it was.
Is that 2022?
So, I don't know. I mean, it was 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, it was 2022. It was 2022.
Yeah. I mean, that's me pretty much making a joke. I'm glad it's in Lightyear. It doesn't matter. The movie was bad for reasons completely separate from that.
It was Interstellar.
It was just kind of forgettable. It was just a very forgettable movie. Actually, my problem with it was that I feel like it actually I kind of remember the twist with we're not going to talk about Lightyear, so we can kind of bring it up a bit here.
The twist with Zurg works better here than it does in Lightyear.
Well, it works better here is because this is canon now. They've established it. That's what it is. And then in Lightyear, it's like,
They're hogtied to it.
But they don't think they even did it. They kind of.
No, they didn't.
They change it.
Yeah.
They change it.
Yeah, it's
Zurg
the spoilers. Zurg is aged up Buzz.
Yeah, I don't like it. So I think that was part of why it came out of Lightyear. Other people came out of Lightyear being like, "Two moms, this means a lot to me. I'm angry."
And that's it.
I came out of Lightyear like, "Oh, Zurg is not an aged up
Zurg's like
Buzz."
the cannon. They destroyed the cannon.
I
See,
came
I
out of
just
that
don't
with my
think
mother,
they-
and I was upset.
I
So
think when they
Zach
made
went to
this one, they did
join
not really
Oscar
think of.
Isaac in Enter the Spider-Verse because
Lightyear is my least favorite Pixar movie that I've seen besides Cars 2.
I don't think
that is
in
my
this
safe
movie
take
when they
there.
were establishing who Zurg was to Buzz, I don't think they were thinking anything of it.
No,
thought they
I
were
don't
like, we're
either.
gonna
But
right. But
when they
you
make
establish
Lightyear,
it-
they have to
Canon.
respect what they've already established.
I know,
the
but
canon
you
is
also
the canon.
I guess that I was gonna say, but
The
you also have
canon is the canon.
you
bro.
also have
Don't say it again. Don't you say it again.
okay. Talking about the expansion of the world that we're in, and
Yeah, let's
going
get back
into
to Toy
like
Story
where we're talking about that. I wanted to talk about even though you have the world expanding, you still have the story that feels very small, and you still have the story that only takes an hour and a half to tell, but feels like you fit an entire like fully fledged out adventure within it. You know, and I think that's a huge credit to it, and I think they do something that we have docked franchises on in the past, where they get so far into the franchise that they start retelling the same story over and over again. And I think this one has very, very similar story beats as the first one, but they do it in a very new way. Like, we are still going on the Lost Toy adventure. We're still going on. I mean, even the whole Buzz thing where you have like the Buzz character not really understand. Like you get that whole bit again, but it feels fresh and new. You know, you get this whole Lost Toy bit again, but it feels fresh and new, you know? And so I think the way they're doing, like the writing that goes into something like that, I don't know if it was purposeful and they were trying to, or they just like, oh, there's only so many ways we could tell a story about toys, that they were like, we needed these are the beats that kind of work for us, so let's just kind of twist them a little bit here and there. But it really, really worked out for me in their favor, I think. And when you have a world that, like, in this one definitely gets bigger, because I mean the last one was pretty small. You can only go up when you have 2 houses and I guess 3 houses because Andy moves at the end, and a pizza
restaurant.
place. Yeah. You can only go up when those are the only 3 places you have. But in this one, I mean, there's only 1 house, an apartment building, and a toy store. So it's like they're not really going
the airport.
up by
The airport.
and the airport. I don't know how I almost forgot about the airport.
You know, we're talking about these beings whose legs are probably, I would say, 5 inches at most long.
Right, and we talked about
trying
that
to
in the
trek
first one, where it's
miles
like,
and miles and miles and miles.
yes, we talked about that in the first one, where it's like it's this huge story to them, but to us, it's just like a walk around the block. And I think them being able to capture that again, because in the next one they take a little bit of a different approach, it works so well. So did you guys feel did you feel like the story was still small like the first one, or do you think that the story itself also expanded with the world?
I felt like it did expand because you're allowed to do so much more when you go to, say, a toy store.
Yeah.
Than
a
when
great
you go
idea.
to a pizza planet and you're in, the claw machine, which, not knocking it, amazing scene for the time, but here you can go to the Barbie aisle, you can have them drive around in a little toy car, you can meet a different Buzz, you can expand it, but you don't lose what made those moments special.
Right.
You know?
I think let me rephrase my question, because I don't disagree with you. Do you think the story as it's like the story that they are going on, the adventure that they're going on, do you feel like that got bigger? Or do you feel like the scale of that kind of stayed the same from 1 to the next, or 1 to 2? Because I feel like the story in the first one, I don't have any issue with it. And I feel like I said, they hit a lot of the similar beats with the world expanding. And I don't think it's a bad thing whether they expanded, but do you guys feel like the story got bigger?
A little bit, because I think a story gets bigger when you can introduce new themes. And I think we've talked about this, which is this movie gets more mature.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
That's true.
I think that's really when I see like a story getting bigger, I think of there's new angles, new themes introduced. Zach, do you have any?
I was just gonna say, I mean, yeah, what you guys are both right, and also just introducing a whole new set of characters to go along with the toys that we already knew in the last one.
Yeah.
Like that the story expands, and we give that not only just them as like set dressing, but like we give them depth too, like with Jessie and the prospector. So it's yeah, but I think they do a good job of it though. Like you said, I don't think does not feel like we have too much going on at all, and I think even with the separate A and B plot set up, I think it never feels like we're spending too much time with one story before we get back to the other one, and I think both of them are just as interesting as I'm enjoying both of them equally. So it's it's just really kind of perfect in that
One's
regard.
more of
Perfect,
a comedic
perfect
relief
symmetry there.
storyline. One's more of a comedic relief, and I think when you have that sandwiched in between the very emotional story and emotional ride that Woody's going on, where he's kind of he's like deciding the fate of what the rest of his life is going to look like. Is it going to be with Andy? Is it going to be at this museum? And that is like there are funny moments within it, like especially at the very beginning, but I think them having the contrast between the two really worked, and I thought that definitely elevated the story and took it to a different level than we saw in the first one.
Corey, just to add to this, I remember there was a tagline for Bug's Life that I liked, and I feel like it's very appropriate here. So the tagline of Bug's Life is an epic of miniature proportions. That's what this kind of feels like. It's this journey of like depth, and in Buzz's case, like really heroicism of I'm not going to give up on Woody because he never gave up on me. And I think that's what this is. It's an epic for kids, similar to, dare I say, the SpongeBob movie, which is a child's retelling of the Odyssey.
Get it? Yeah.
He meets the Cyclops.
I'm not denying that. I understand that.
He brought the crown back.
I believe you.
Let's cover those movies.
No. Speaking of SpongeBob.
How are you going to tie this in? I'm watching the gears.
Well, here's the thing. Speaking of SpongeBob, and you'll see how I tie this in.
I'm excited.
Zach's
an expert at this.
I do have a question here.
Yes.
One of my favorite scenes in this movie is the scene where Woody has to go steal something from Al, and he's like, it's like a minefield of Cheetos. And he's I don't even remember what he's stealing from Al.
His arm.
It's his
so he can
Okay,
leave.
yeah, right. Makes sense. Great scene. And I'm watching, I'm like, it's one of these. And it's a stealing from a sleeping character scene. And I was like, I feel like there's a ton of these. And then when I actually started to think about it, I actually couldn't think of as many as I thought I'd be able to. It's just the one or two I thought of right away are very prominent in my head. And so the reason I thought of SpongeBob is not a movie scene, but the secret box episode with Patrick. I do remember that scene very well, with SpongeBob sneaking in to get the secret box, and all the little noises. Every step he takes is somehow the loudest sound that's ever been created. And like Patrick sleeps through all of it, and then SpongeBob at the end just goes, "Wow, Patrick sure is a heavy sleeper." And then
that
Patrick,
wakes
like,
Patrick up.
jolts awake. Like, who's there? Who said that? It's a great bit. So that's one of them I thought of. The other one right away I thought of is Will Turner getting the key out from Davy Jones' tentacles in Dead Man's chest when he's asleep at the organ. That's a good one. I have another one here that I thought of, but I don't want to steal one from you guys. If you guys thought of this one,
I have one, but it's one that a character tells us, and it's more done for comic relief.
I saw this.
I will say the TNT name of the character when it's edited for TV, Mother Lover Jones.
You say the F word on this podcast.
I haven't in weeks.
Episode.
I haven't.
Keep
in
it clean
weeks.
for the toys. Keep it clean.
I haven't in weeks, man. I haven't.
Children listen to this. Listen to us talk.
Yeah,
I haven't
breastfeeding
since
mothers.
probably Field of Dreams. But anyway, the Mother Lover Jones story in which Jamie Foxx proceeds to tell them how he got his character's name.
It's a good
And
one.
it ends with him stealing his mother's whole week's pay. If you haven't seen the movie, I
It's a
highly
good scene.
recommend watching it.
It's a
Because
good Jamie Foxx scene.
It's more also he's telling the story to dramatic effect while Jason Bateman, Jason Sudeikis, and Charlie Day are like aghast at what he is saying.
The name, the TNT name really changes the meaning of what they're trying to portray with the name in the script.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
It doesn't
much.
really work. I'm a
It
big
doesn't.
believer that TV versions of movies, you gotta cut what you gotta cut to get it on certain channels. I am to the point where I will almost turn it off if they do it like what Cole's talking about, where they like dub in different versions of lines. I hate it. I'd rather they just bleep it out. That works 100% better for me. But Corey, do you have any scene where someone steals from someone sleeping that you like?
Wrote down Inception.
Oh my god,
I'm so good at this game.
He's so good. He's so good at movie podcast. That's good.
Yeah. I
Wow.
thought of that and I laughed for a few seconds and then I moved on
Yeah.
and didn't look up any other ones.
Okay, good. I didn't look up any because I was like, I want this to be organic. And the only other one I thought of is just Pippin stealing that orb from Gandalf in Return of the King. And Gandalf like sleeps with his eyes open, and he's just like sitting there in bed holding it, this like bowling ball. And he's just.
Then
That's-
when Pippin uncovers it, that's when Gandalf wakes up.
Does he call him a fool of a took then, or is that earlier?
I
He
think
yells,
I think he's a fool of a toque in both occasions.
he yells something really mean at Pippin there. It's deserved.
Mary's kind of a mean boy to
Dude,
Pippin
Pippin sucks sometimes.
Or any
listen to our
any other
Lord of
Toy
the Rings episodes.
Any other Toy Story 2 points or questions that we want to talk about?
Another
before
dumb
we move on?
question, and I don't think there's an answer to this, but why are Buzz Lightyear toys born with their reality out of whack? It doesn't seem like any other toys have this problem.
Do you think
And we kind
that's
of
the
maybe.
case?
I mean, here's the thing:
we
Toy Story
don't-
4.
we
We
don't-
only see a toy being born, quote unquote, in like Toy Story 4, but it doesn't seem like Forky has any delusions of what he is.
But he's not based on anything, like with Woody, Buzz, like all these other toys, they're like based on something. And so
Yeah.
it kind of makes sense for them.
It makes sense that at some point they will need this kind of reality check. Of course, as we are told through dialogue, Woody is probably like 50 years old. He's had this, so it's
You
Here's
think
the
he
other
really
thing.
had to go through the cowboy? I'm not a cowboy reckoning early on.
Here's the other thing, though.
I ain't
I
no
kind of want to push
cowboy.
back. I kind of want to push back on your Forky take because Forky with Buzz was made in the image of Buzz Lightyear, the TV show, movie, whatever it is, right?
And Forky was made in the image of Christ.
Forky was made in the image of trash, and so in his head, he's trash. I'm trash. Like it's this
Oh,
whole
you know what?
thing.
You're right. That is his whole
He
bit, is
was
that he jumps in the
made-
trash. doesn't
And
he?
so Woody is having to convince him that he's not
You're right.
trash.
I'm wrong. I
That's-
got to stop talking about
But I
Toy
was-
Story 4 because I don't remember it well.
But I
enough,
was
clearly.
comparing it to the Barbies that they show in
Yeah.
the other aisle. Like I couldn't quite
They have a
tell. They
great
kind
time.
of like because you have the tour guide Barbie who's like she's kind
they're
of
still kind of locked in.
yeah, and then you have like they're all at the beach and they're all pretending like they're actually at the beach.
What else are they gonna do?
Right.
Maybe it's a toy store thing, and like once you get out of that toy store, it's hard to not really
reality.
see your situation
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
So
Just that
also-
Buzz has a long time, takes a long time to get that. On that topic, as we didn't say that, I mean, we complimented Buzz's plotline. I do think the double Buzz storyline in this is really funny, and I think the moment
don't
where
overplay
Buzz,
it.
I'm
When
going
it's like, oh,
to
who's-
let go.
who's the real Buzz, and he just hits the helmet, and the other guy thinks he's like choking. That's a great bit. That's a really good bit.
You know what bit I did love, which was the code. I think it's like 514 or whatever, and then the buzzes are looking at each other. So you mean he's? And then he runs up to Woody, kneels. Your Majesty.
You like that bit? I like that they didn't stick with it to it.
I'm sorry. I think
I didn't say
things are
anything bad.
fine.
I didn't say anything bad about it.
Yeah, but you implied it.
Yeah, there was a tone to it.
There was implication.
I did like that they did not stick with it for too long because that's one, if they would have introduced that like the first 5 minutes of the movie, it'd be like, okay, we get it. But I think they play that bit out very well. They don't overplay their hand at all, which, I mean,
It is
sometimes movies do not know how to do that properly.
It is fun watching. I love how this new Buzz, still under the impression he's a space ranger, just takes this whole situation in stride and just is on this mission.
He's so excited.
That makes
about it.
no lick of sense to him if he thinks, like, I don't know, it just doesn't. But he just goes along with it and leads the squad.
Yeah,
I
he's
really
a
enjoy
ranger.
that. Yeah.
Well, Rex knows how to defeat Zurg.
Right. That's great. That's so good.
You know what bit? Also, when Zurg is falling and Rex is like, I defeated Zurg. And then you
But
just
that's the
have
best part.
the timid Tim Allen, father.
Well, while we're doing the really bad podcasting trope of just listing parts that we found funny, last one I'll bring up. I would bring this up during the award season, but he's not my MVP, and I doubt he's going to be any of your guys's, but maybe I'm wrong. Wayne Knight as Al, the Al Toy Barn guy. I really enjoy him, and I think the highlight for me, though, is like kind of the coda we get with his character at the end, where he does another commercial, and he's like crying through it. It's like, that's the best take they got.
Why didn't they
There's
just air
not
the
one
first
take
ones?
where he isn't crying.
So,
It's all
You
they
know
could
what?
get out of him.
Zach,
He's
I think that's
he's that depressed that he's in a state of nonstop sorrow and crying.
I think it's funny you bring that up because randomly I'm scrolling through Instagram and that clip of Soldier Boy from season 3 of The Boys. The way they do
Shameless plug.
marketing is they do outtakes of characters and it's him filming a drug commercial. At one point he just goes, nah, that's a wrap. They're like, can we get one more take? And he goes, no, we're done.
And you
On
think that was
the award
Al.
season.
Yeah, I think he was like, no, we're not doing this anymore.
On to the awards season.
Apparently they strayed off course, and we're fairly certain they're in guerrilla hands.
So why don't you use the regular army? What do you need us for?
Because some damn fool accused you of being the best.
So it looks like Zach made the sheet.
Zach
So
gets to go
by
first.
law, he goes last.
No.
You
Yeah.
That's
That
a
was-
tough one.
Yeah, that was big
Either way.
emotional beat there.
But this character, this high energy cowgirl with that trauma underneath, I think she's a great character, and I think Joan Cusack does a great job. And I'm like, in my head, I haven't seen many Joan Cusack movies, but I'm like, obviously the first ones I think of are this and then School of Rock, and she is so different in those two. So kudos to her. And she has like one line. I didn't write it down, so this is a paraphrase, but I thought it was like, oh, what a beautiful line about what it's like to be a toy in this universe, where she's like,
You never forget an Emily or an Andy.
that's not the line, but thank you, line boy. I was gonna say like that part where she goes like, when you're not moving, but you feel alive because that's how she sees you in that moment. That is really well written and well delivered. So yeah, Joan Cusack, big fan of Jessie and Bullseye as additions in this sequel. So
You know what?
Cole, who is your MVP?
I'm going to go Tim Allen. Double the Tim Allen, double the enjoyment in this movie.
that's what Count Dooku said.
His sincere
Wait,
buzz
cry?
is
Double the fall.
really good. But I also love going back to the buzz from the first movie that is just so unserious and childlike. And I think he does both really well. Jesus Christ, breathe louder, why don't you?
He did breathe really loud in the mic there, Cole. But again, snapping beers, you guys both have your vices that I have to edit out every episode.
Okay, they're usually sodas, actually. But, Corey?
Sorry. I'm gonna pick the writing team of Andrew Stanton, Rita.
So it's a
Didn't
name.
get the girl's name, huh?
No, it's Rita Chiaro, Doug Chamberlain, and Chris Webb. I think that's how you pronounce her name. I apologize if I got it incorrectly. The entire writing team. There was one moment that I really wanted to talk about that kind of reflected how I felt about the writing team, and it's when Woody is talking about Andy and how he ended up where he ended up. And he's saying he was trying to tell the story about how he ended up at a garage sale, and they keep interrupting him. And there are usually scenes that are written somewhat like this, where the main character just can't get out exactly what the story was, and all these other characters are like, that sounds like you're wrong, like this is bad, you're like, and they get the wrong idea from the story. But usually it's because instead of like having part of the story like told, they just don't. The main character just doesn't tell the story, and so it's like, just tell these guys what happened, and they'll see that you're right, you know. And it's like that. It's confusion because of miscommunication. And here he is legitimately trying to get it out, tell the story, and with them like talking over him, I think that scene is written very well and very believable and very like, this is how people talk, you know. Like if I'm talking and you guys are trying to like prove a point, like we talk over each other, it just happens. And so I thought it was a very natural way of writing, and that like the dialogue and again like the overall story, just love. Didn't make me want to ask any questions that I didn't need to. It was kept keeping me along for the ride the entire time. So the entire writing team is my MVP for this.
Why do you hate Steven Spielberg and the way he wrote Close Encounters of the Third Kind?
On to the review section.
Says that they insist on outside opinions.
What kind of opinions?
Well, your kind, not to put too fine a point on it. I mean, let's face it, in your particular field, you're the top minds.
Randy Newman, can you write every Heartbreak song ever? 5 out of 5.
Did you write that one?
Yeah, and you guys
Play the
won't
sounder.
believe that. You guys won't believe this till he didn't win his first Oscar till 2013 for Best Original Song.
That's insane.
Well,
What did he do, like High School Musical 4? What was that one?
This year, it was another Toy Story, but
Did you
it
say
was
High
Toy
School
Story
Musical 4 won an Oscar?
No, I was making a gag.
But
Toy Story 3
this
was like
is,
2010.
in 1990, it was whenever Toy Story 3 came out. No, Toy Story 3 was 2013.
It was 2010.
Thank you for
God.
doubling down, though, Cole. I really
I
enjoyed
gotta
that.
back
and
it
I,
up.
And
Gotta back
it really hugged my heart when I heard you double down because I knew I was right. So
Okay.
thank you for that.
Anyway, yeah, this year he lost to You'll Be in My Heart from Tarzan, which now
That's a good
plays
song.
at every first dance I see between a mother and a son at a wedding.
Yep, that happened at my cousin's wedding.
Zach?
Happened at Chase's.
Yeah, sure did. And I honestly was going to do it at mine, but now it's getting kind of overdone. A sequel that grows up along with its audience and characters. Toy Story 2 might be the best animated sequel of all time. 4.5 out of 5.
Why do you hate
What was that
Shrek
face,
2?
Corey? Let's go ahead. I
Well,
think it is better than Shrek 2.
Well,
I think it is better than Shrek 2.
Oh, you'll see mine. Where do you go when you make an amazing first movie in a franchise? You go to one of the best sequels of all time. That's why I rolled. I was like, oh, dang it, I got so mine.
Make
4.5
the sheet.
out of 5. On to the post-credit scene.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.
Coming up next, we have E.T., and that is streaming on nothing. So go rent it.
You get nothing, sir. You lose.
You lose.
Day, sir.
Good day, sir.
So that's what we'll be covering next in our Spielberg Space Aliens extravaganza. I don't know. We didn't come up with a fun title for it this time.
That was it.
Look at that. And so we're going to be doing E.T. with that one. And then right after that, we're going to be going back to Toy Story with Toy Story 3. And that will also be streaming on Disney+. But in the meantime, until E.T. and until Toy Story 3, and since Close Encounters, what have you guys been watching?
I finished Night of the Seven Kingdoms. Watched the
How'd
first episode, like I said,
the show.
before Close Encounters. And last night, we're recording this like 2 weeks before this episode is going to come out. But last night with my roommate George and our friend Danny, we watched the next 5 episodes together.
So you
and
just
knocked
barreled
it out.
through them.
It was like watching
I mean-
like a 2-hour and 40-minute movie. I mean,
They're like,
it was.
they're 30 to 40 minutes.
They're tight. They're tight episodes.
Maybe not even 40 minutes.
They did a
How
great
come
job.
I can't say
adapting it.
clean and tight, but when Cole says tight, it's like, Cole just said tight. It's fine.
I was just gonna say I think it did a great job adapting the novella,
Definitely
which
did.
I also really
I
liked it. And I think the guy they got to play Dunk. I mean, this guy's one of my favorite Game of Thrones universe characters. So this guy's awesome.
That
Are you excited?
I'll hunt you down
How
with dogs.
How close did they keep to the source material?
Really close. The only, I mean, no spoilers, but like you get like a flashback to like Dunk in Flea Bottom in King's Landing in one of the episodes. Him meeting Sir Arlen of Pennytree the night that he was a squire for. It's briefly just like mentioned how he met him, but like this whole backstory with this other girl and stuff, that's not in the book at all. So they added that, and brief little tangents that they do to fill out the runtimes. Like I don't think he ever goes to that party at the Baratheon tent.
Love that part.
Or maybe that gets expanded a bit. Maybe he doesn't get expanded. I don't remember. He goes into some tent, so maybe that's what it was. But all the main events
Zach didn't read
it.
He lied. He just didn't want to watch the show when we were watching it.
No, I read it. It's great. All the main events are pretty much the same. And what I will say, just to my favorite part of the book is just it is nailed in the show, which is when he needs to recruit one more knight to fight with him at the end, and he is given a big speech about are there no true knights among you? Like is just like what a knight should. This show in the book, what a knight should be. I mean, and I think I mentioned this before. It's just like Game of Thrones, the show in the books, the main series is like very cynical. And I think it's really well written, but it is very cynical about, a lot of knights are awful people in those shows. And there's very few men of honor. And the ones that are men of honor are rarely rewarded for being men of honor and women of honor. Dunk is a man of honor. And it's nice to have a short little bite-sized story where this is just a hero and he sticks to his morals. And it plays out how the fairy tales that you might hear about knights or something would. So I think it's a very wholesome version of Game of Thrones. And it's funny. It's really funny.
Yeah.
The one thing I was saying to my friends is I hope they crank these seasons out because the worst thing that could happen for this show is the kid who plays Egg for his voice to drop. For his voice to drop.
Him
and we
to
run into
turn into the cast of Stranger Things.
If we get a low voice Egg, when he becomes low voice Egg, it's not going to be the same. Like
Sir
Stranger Things,
Duncan,
sure,
get
more,
up, Sir Duncan. Get
I'd
up.
say Stranger Things. Stranger Things that's one issue, and then another one is like Modern Family, where I think that's where I think I stopped watching it like season 4 or 5. I think
but they were growing up like naturally.
But here's the thing.
Other people don't.
I don't mean like timeline wise. Timeline wise, that's fine with Modern Family. That's unavoidable. It's the writing did not grow up with Luke and Manny, whereas like Luke as a empty-brained like 8-year-old. It's cute and it's funny. And Manny as like an eloquent, well-spoken, cultured 8-year-old, it's funny. It's cute. When they become teenagers and they're still like Luke is still that dumb and Manny is eloquent, it doesn't come across as cute anymore. It comes across as condescending and annoying. But like that's
fair enough.
That's why it doesn't work in like Modern Family. But like, Egg's a different type of character and eventually, kind of hinted at where this character goes. He will have to grow up. I'm just saying, like, the cute factor of the squire, this Targaryen. Ooh, okay, I'll cut that part because that's a kind of a spoiler if anyone doesn't watch it. This cute squire is like, you don't want to lose that appeal once he becomes like just a teenage, like high school age guy, hanging out with Sir Duncan. It's not going to be quite the same.
Yeah.
Corey?
I finished The Pit. The Pit is good.
So good.
Highly recommend it. I heard someone called it competency porn, and I think that's exactly what it is.
I love competency. We talked about the Mission Impossible. I love competency.
I know, and I think that's why I really like this show, because
maybe I should watch the show then.
Everyone is just so good at what they do, and when the drama comes from just these real life events, and it's like, these guys are going to do everything that they can do in their power to save this person, and it's like, is it going to work out or not? But it's not because like, oh my gosh, how do we do this? We don't even know it's never anything like that. It's like, no, these guys know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. They've been doing this for a while. They're very, very smart. All of them, every single character is very, very smart and handles everything with a great reverence to it, because I mean, they're in a hospital, and but the drama comes from just like everything else around them, which is, it's so nice to have like these story beats, but then you're interrupted by like these high intensity moments, but it's almost like these high intensity moments are calming, because that's where they thrive. They thrive in these high intensity moments, and your characters are going to be like, this is where they're even keel here. So I think that's a big reason I like that. I also watched Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah. In terms of the competency thing, and like loving competency, I think, and because I'm into that too, and like we said, we talked about that a lot with other things and other characters. I think that's why it's so hard, and this is just a brief sidetrack, I'll just say this, This is why it's so hard for me to look at this lineup today that Ollie Marmol put out against the Miami Marlins on this getaway day. And again, this is outdated. We're recording this 2 weeks before it comes out. But what the hell?
The rubber match in Miami.
Would the guy in the pit put that lineup out?
Zach,
I don't think so. Probably not.
I think you will meet Dr. Robbie and you will find a kindred spirit because incompetency upsets.
It's a hard word.
Yeah, I know. Incompetency upsets Dr. Robbie as much as it upsets you. Maybe more so because lives are on.
Yeah. So you expect.
Well, speaking of lives being on the line, I think a lot of the characters in Jason Manhattan Takes Manhattan would have needed this. Yeah.
Can't tell you.
Would have needed
the one.
Cole tried to make himself feel better by
the
attacking the way I talked after he couldn't say incompetency. That's what just happened.
And
just
yeah,
the way that they
sputtered.
The Jason Takes Manhattan is such like not what happens in this movie. It's just so like
he didn't take Manhattan.
It's so like
not
brutally
what about the Muppets?
misleading.
Did they take Manhattan?
It's so brutally misleading in this movie of the title, which is like very, very upsetting. And then the characters that you have around, not that, I mean, from the movies that we watched, Cole, I don't want to spoil anything besides don't expect Jason to do anything in Manhattan, really. In Jason Takes Manhattan, if you're expecting that, you're going to be really disappointed. But
there's like one really good Manhattan scene in like Times Square. I actually really like the scene. The scene of Jason in Times Square, I think is really solid.
But it's like it's the last 15 minutes of the movie, maybe.
Yeah.
So it's like it's very short. They have like the characters that they have, and like we talked about Friday the 13th. We know that the characters are not like super smart. They know like all this stuff. It is to a insane another level in Jason Takes Manhattan how dumb these characters are. One character, I'll spoil this one part for you, Cole, because I doubt you'll ever watch Jason Takes Manhattan, and if you do, I don't care if this spoils it for you. There is a scene where one girl is chased around and she ends up on a stage in the middle of a room, and she's on one stage.
Yeah, the dance floor.
Yeah. And to hide.
Is there a murder on the dance floor?
To hide, she decides to make sure to like, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm being chased by this guy. And so what am I going to do? I'm going to stand still on this stage where I'm exposed to every single angle and just spin around. I'm just going to spin around until I can see him again. And then, of course, he's right behind her. And it's just, she sits there and spins like 4 times. And it's like, pick a direction.
She's on a dance floor. It's just muscle memory at that point.
It's insane. That part.
Well, the thing is, she never had a
Sometimes
chance.
you go dancing in the rain.
There's just
Incompetent
no.
characters.
She didn't really have much of a chance, Corey, because what she had come to realize, or she didn't know, and us as audiences didn't know about Jason through the first 7 movies, but now as canon, is he can teleport. He can just teleport now in 8. There are bits in that movie where there's no physical way he could end up where he ends up at certain parts in the movies from where we just saw him a second ago. There is no way. There's like one part where he's getting,
but I guess it did.
there's like a one part where a guy, he's getting chased. I don't remember exactly how this is, but he's chasing a guy on the street, and the guy runs up the stairs of a building, and Jason's already up there and like tosses him out.
Throws him out a window. Yes.
It's like, what the hell are we doing? And by the logic of the end of the movie, you just cannot track what the hell is happening. He's like a little kid again at the end. It doesn't make sense. He looks like a frog when his mask comes off.
But he looks weird.
It is a bonkers
There's a
movie.
clip I've seen where he's kind of got like a piggy thing going on when his
It's kind of close to what he looks like in this one.
masks comes
That's
off.
probably this one, I think. Here's the thing is, I mean, the 7th one, not really a good movie, but one thing I will say to the positive of the 7th one is when his mask cracks off on that one, I actually love the way he looks. I think he looks really cool at the end of the 7th one. He looks so stupid at the end of Jason
We'll
Takes
learn
Manhattan. It's
how he
absurd.
got that way in Camp Crystal Lake, coming soon to Peacock.
It'll be really fun to watch Crystal Lake knowing that Jason Takes Manhattan is canon. It'll be really fun. And
'Cause
Corey,
they're
I don't know
all
if you've been
canon,
keeping up with this,
right?
Corey, and
They're all
we'll wrap up this Jason talk here in a second. Just wrap up the episode. I don't know if you've been keeping track of the timeline, Corey.
No,
but
it's been the last thing on my mind.
You know, like the first
seems like they don't really care. And
Right.
so-
Okay. So first one's like 79, 1980, something like that.
Yeah.
There's a 5-year time jump. Remember in 2.
Yes.
It's like 5 years later. So that's,
Yeah.
we're at least 1984. And all those 2 through 4
George
were all in
Orwell?
1984, 1985 range. Tommy Jarvis is at least 10 years older in 5.
Right.
So we're looking at like 1995 there,
Yeah.
1994-ish. We'll be generous and say 93 even.
Okay.
I think, we could say Jason Lives takes place a year later, 94. And then the 7th one, there's like a 10-year time jump.
There is?
In that one too. Remember the little girl when she like sends her dad down there?
Yeah, because
and then
she gets pulled
and then she's like
down.
an adult. Yeah, and that's like as a she's there as like a child.
Yeah.
And it must be when she's a child, it must be after Jason Lives because it's not a camp there anymore. It's a house or whatever. It's just not. And we jump ahead to when she's an adult. So I think we're in like the mid-aughts, we're by 7. And then 8 takes place, I don't know how long after 7, but we're looking at like 2005 or something.
And when are we in space?
We're going to be like in 2000 and like 150 or something by that point. But Corey Celestine.
I'm watching 9 next. What's 9
So
called?
20,000?
Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. So it's another one
Get
that says
out
it's
of
the
town. Is that?
It's called Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. It's a great title. It's a great title.
A great title.
Yeah, that'll put butts in seats.
But they already had Final. They had Final and 4, the final chapter.
I mean,
Evil
this
has
is them
finally
also
found a home.
Yeah, it's a great title. It's a great tagline too. And it's all. I mean, it's they did the same thing with Nightmare on Elm Street. The Nightmare on Elm Street 6 is called Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. Both of these movies came out in the early '90s, so you could see that these things were just grasping to stay, like, kind of get whatever last box office dollars they could, milk, get the last bit of baseball left in you, as Billy Bean would say, out of these franchises with these titles. But I think both of them are like maybe the worst in their franchises.
These look scary.
No, don't you worry. You'll be okay. I promise.
You can watch them with Corey. She'll love them.
Yeah,
okay, last thing I'll say is, again, Jason Goes to Hell, not a good movie, but you will not be able to say that they didn't have an idea.
Good, that's good.
It is. You are watching it like this, they had ideas. They were making decisions, for sure.
Well, until then, I'll make sure to report back at the next episode when we cover
I
E.T.
do have some reviews to drop on TV shows that Zach will never watch. Daredevil Born Again, still great. Highly recommend it. Really excited for season 3. The Boys is kind of, I feel like it's kind of back. They're not doing the grotesque stuff that they did last season. They're kind of tempering it back to really what made the show great in season 1 and 2. And
I don't know what made the show great.
I finished Invincible, Court.
Shut up. Don't say anything about it. I don't even want to hear a one-word review.
It was.
No.
It was.
I'm just so serious. I'm so serious.
Corey,
Cole, I'm going to be honest.
this
You've
is the
spoiled
part-
things for me. You've spoiled things for me in the past. If you even come close to giving me some sort of a semblance of what the season
Corey,
finale
I
has
was
to
saying
come,
it was,
I am
and
going
then
to
this
actually
was
not
when
talk to you anymore.
The title card would come in when I say it was. That's when the title card comes.
We can talk about it next episode. You may not talk about it, and you're done talking about it. Move on. What else did you watch?
Where they didn't move the gravestones in Invincible finale, I heard. They actually just moved the head.
They didn't
the
move
bodies.
the gravestone. They didn't move the gravestones. They just moved the headstones.
You see how he's deflecting?
Yeah, he's really trying to change the
he's
subject
really
right now.
I'm reading through you. I'm reading right through you.
What else did you watch?
No, just those shows. And I mentioned the drama. I saw Zach saw the drama.
It was good. It was good. I think people were overreacting. That's all I'll say vaguely about the movie.
Overreacting to what?
People within the movie, not people to
They
the
were.
movie.
They were.
The whole movie is about a certain drama, and I'm
No,
saying people in
yeah.
the film, I think they were overreacting.
No, I want to see it. I can't wait for
It's
it
a
to come out
good
on
conversation
Disney
movie.
Channel.
It's a great conversation movie.
Oh, Chasing Amy.
Yes, it's exactly in that genre of you just want to talk about it after, for sure. Both like perfect 3.5 out of 5, just thinkers.
I can't
Excited,
We need more of those. We need
to
more of
watch
those.
ET though.
Yeah,
excited to
I'm
watch
excited.
ET.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time for
I'm
me.
excited to rent
It's a
ET.
4.5 out of 5 non-thinker. Not a lot to think about with ET, and I really like it.
But the question for our audience is, will
Would ya?
Corey think about it?
The question is,
Me and my friends would kill ET with hammers, I can tell you that much.
I mean, Zach said yes during Back to the Future. That is canon.
well, Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of this episode. We appreciate your listenership and your watchingship. And until the next episode, continue to keep up with us, join the convoy, watch the movies along with us as we watch. And until next time,
Convoy, baby.
just keep watching movies. Bye.